jellyfish! What's up? It's Tracy. I feel physically exhausted because let me tell you, teaching middle school is like highly an exhausting task. Every day I come home and I come home at like 4 and then I'm like, alright, I can just go to bed like right now. The life of being a teacher. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to be doing this Q&A video in the future, so like if you have questions for me, leave them in the down bar, or the script, or the comments, or like whatever that thing's called. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, so I'm filming this video. It's talking about how to pick a modern deck and like how to go about that, because I feel like it's a very like overwhelming thing when you like get started and you're like, hey, like I don't know what I want to play, I don't know what deck style's mine, and like whatever. So the first thing I'd say is to like do some research. I always have MTG Top 8 listed in the down bar, which is super awesome because it always tells you like, you know, oh, there was this recent open, what are the decks that Top 8'd? And so you can look and you can be like, oh, okay. And I think it will, like, it helps figure out, like, okay, I see this deck showing up a lot, like, whatever. And I think it's like, do you want to do a top deck? Do you want to do a homebrew? Do you want to do, like, a mix of those things where, like, you basically net deck, which is when, like, someone top 8s with the deck and you copy the exact deck. Like, you don't even change a single card. And then sideboard is always weird because you're, like, probably always going to change up sideboard depending on, like, where you're going. We'll talk about sideboard in a little bit, too. So yeah, I would say do some research. I feel like this is going to help you, I don't know, I guess, like, see, like, what you like and, like, what your playstyle is. If you're, like, oh, am I a control player? Am I an aggressive player? Like, what kind of deck, like, do you want to play? Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is, you know, see what people at your local game store are playing so you can beat them, because this is like a concept that I had a really difficult time when I got into competitive Magic understanding. That certain decks are good, but are not good at the right time. And are like, sometimes they're just like not good because this other deck is out there and it beats all this other decks. So you gotta wait until that deck like simmers out, because like Magic players a lot of times are like on that hype train, and so like something comes out and they're like, alright, cool, everyone's doing it, so I need to do it too, and then they do it, and then like the trend fades away, like Eldrazi, and then that got banned, you know, like that was the thing. So yeah, I feel like it's like, see, you know, what people at your local game store are playing so that you can be like, oh hey, I want to like go out and beat that deck, because making like, the whole thing about how decks work is it's like, there's this deck, and this deck beats this deck, but this deck beats that deck, but like this deck loses to that deck, and it's like a whole like gigantic circle of things. And I think that's the thing that I like, those are two things that I didn't understand. The first was that like, oh wow, this deck always beats this deck for the most part. Like, but then also that certain decks are not good at the right time. So like picking a deck that's going to be good like in the meta, or like, you know, in your local game store. And then segueing into number 3 is like, or not local game store, are you someone who's like, I only go to big competitive tournaments and I don't even care? And for that, I would say, you know, you're gonna see every single deck imaginable when you go out to play somewhere, so like, you can be like, yeah, I'm never gonna see that type of deck. Like, I swear, I have gone to tournaments before where there's like 5 rounds, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna see this deck, this deck, this deck, this deck, and this deck, and guess what? I don't see any of those decks, and I see these random decks that I've never expected. You gotta like learn to be flexible, and you gotta learn to expect everything. Because I swear, when you say, yeah, no one plays that deck, I'm never gonna see that deck, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna see that deck. So, yeah, I think it's like, you know, where are you planning on playing? Are you someone who's like, hey, I just stick to my local game store, everyone there is a Burn player, okay, sweet, how can I beat Burn? You know, that whole thing. Okay, that. This is like, muy importante. Play the deck before you build you buy it. So proxy the deck first before you're like, hey, let me spend like $500 on this thing. Proxy the deck. This is also really helpful because it gets you to see if you like the deck. It gets you to see if it fits into your playstyle. Are you an aggro player? Are you like a sideboard player? Are you a control player? Like, what kind of player are you? Figure that out. And it also helps you to see like, oh wow, I really like this deck. Cool, what changes can I make? This is especially important if you, I know, actually, I would say if you're net decking or you're not, because like my whole thing is if you're gonna like net deck, like I always think it depends, like that deck now, they're playing, their audience for that deck is for like, a bigger tournament where they're planning on seeing everything. So if you're gonna change that deck up for, like, to play at your local game store, there may be certain cards that you're like, wow, like, I'm gonna trade them out, whatever. Okay, I think, like, this is pretty self-explanatory, but, like, play the deck, like, a lot. Don't be like me and play the deck for, like, 10 minutes and be like, yeah, I'm bored, we're gonna do something else. I've actually done that with EDH decks. I've played, like, 2 games with an EDH deck, and I'm like, nah, this is bad, I'm gonna take this part. Yeah, I just don't set good examples sometimes. So yeah, play the deck, like, a ton before you're like, hey, yeah, about this. And also so that you can get, like, way better with the deck. That's something I need to do because I'm really bad at that. So yeah, do that. This is another thing that is super important that, like, I think a lot of people don't understand, or maybe not, maybe I just didn't understand it. Please, like, adjust your sideboard all the time. Please do it. Do not be like, yeah, these are my sideboard and they never change. No, stop. Don't say that ever. Ever. Okay, here's the deal. Sideboard's always going to be changing. Again, depends on your audience. Are you playing at a local game store when that day you know that every single player in there is playing Tron? Okay, sweet. Adjust your sideboard. Don't be like, oh yeah, like, da, da, da. No, adjust it so it can be Tron. Do the thing. Just, like, do it. Actually, you'll probably just lose against Tron. That's, like, the reality. That's how I've accepted in my life. I'm like, I'm probably just going to lose against this deck. That's fine. That's just, like, how I feel about Magic all the time. It's like, alright, I'm just going to lose to this deck. So that's fine. Okay. So, anyways, adjust your sideboard. If you're going to a big event, again, expect everything. Everything. Be like, oh yeah, like, you know, that one deck is kind of popping up, but I don't know, you're gonna see it. Just play the sideboard and just make cards so that you can beat them. Just do it. Just do it. Okay. This is another thing that I feel like I have realized about myself. Is it is okay to change your mind. Because let me tell you something. Here was my Magic Modern experience. I started playing Modern last summer, and I had this deck, Black-White Tokens, together for, like, a while, right? So I had the deck together, and I played it for, like, again, before I even started playing it competitively, I had the deck together. So I played that deck, and I think, like, okay, so I played it for a while, and then I played it up until, like, August, I want to say. I think it was around August. Then I was like, you know what? I need to change this deck because I don't want to play it anymore. So then what did I do? I kind of sort of, like, bought Bloom Titan in, like, one day. Yeah, that was, like, major... no, that actually wasn't a regret. That was, like, a really good purchase, like, of cards. I just went in and I was like, these are cards I need, and spent, like, $250, and I was like, alright, cool, I guess I'll just, you know... Actually, no, I spent, like, $250 in one place and then, like, $100 in another, and it was just... It was a sad, sad day. Sad day, but also awesome day because the deck was sweet. So anyways, so I did that, and then I played that deck for, like, a month and a half, maybe 2 months. Then I went back to Black-White Tokens for a little bit. Then I went to Elves. Like, wait, what? Like, I feel like most people do, like, other things. They're like, I play Burn, and then I played Jund. And I was like, nah, like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna play all these weird decks. So, then I played Elves, and then I built Grixis, and then I played Grixis for a while. I played Grixis for, like, 5 months, guys. It was a long time for me. That deck was sweet. And then, now I'm on Blue-White Control. And I feel like I am so, like, I think I'm just an indecisive person, which is why I'm just gonna, like, honestly, I think for me, the way to get into Modern, and maybe I'll do a video on this, about getting into Modern, is just owning, like, a ton of cards. I'll talk about that in a different video, though. So, anyways, yeah, changing your mind, it's totally fine. If you, like, play a deck and you're like, wow, actually, I think I want to do this, hey, that's okay. Also, like, this is a different point, but, like, don't feel pressured at all by people who are telling you that you shouldn't play a deck. Do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. I don't care if your friend Jimmy's like, hey man, like, this card's bad. No, stop. Don't listen to other people. Listen to me. Don't listen to other people. Be like, do whatever you want. Honestly, it's your life. It's your deck. You're the one playing it. Like, who cares? Okay, number 8 is something that I'm doing right now, but I'm hoping, like, my goal, a thing is probably at, like, the end of December, January, I'm gonna get back into Modern. Okay, you may take breaks. That's cool. There's a lot of people I know who take breaks. If you are, like, real frustrated with the game, just take a break. It's okay. It's really, like, I wish someone was like, hey Tracy, it's okay if you take a break. Like, it's not a big deal. I haven't played, like, competitive Magic in, like, several months now. Like, I haven't played competitive Magic since, like, June. It's been a hot minute. So, yeah, okay. what does this say? I really wish may go back to deck one day. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I was like, what? Okay. Yeah, you may go back to a deck in another day, and I think that's super cool. So, like, if you're like, hey, you know, I really like this deck, but again, I don't think it's right in the meta right now, you may go back to it, and I think that's, like, super cool. Oh, I know what point I wanted to make about this. Okay, be very careful about trading cards away that you may eventually play with. Like, there are some cards that you will get and you will be like, hey, I know I will never play with this. But if it's a card, like a modern staple, that you're like, this card will probably, like, not go away for a while, you may want to hang on to it. So think about it, and I think this depends on, like, you know, how I would do it is I would have, like, have cards, and then I would trade away those cards to build this deck, so I wouldn't have a lot of those cards left, so if I ever wanted to go back to this deck, it was like, okay, well, I had to, like, rebuy the deck over. So, yeah, be, like, really careful about which cards you, like, trade away, because I've been, like, really bad about that, but that's why I'm separating my modern cards that I want to hang on to that I may use in the future, and then other cards that I know I'm never going to use, like standard cards. Like, I'll never probably play that format, because I keep bashing standard. I actually kind of like standard, but I feel like I've kept up this persona that I actually hate it, so I'm like, okay, I actually can't start saying that I like standard, because I just can't. I don't actually like it right now, though. I don't like the vehicles. I really don't like it. I played with it once, and I was like, I don't like this at all. And I was like, I just don't want to play this again, so we're just never going to do that. So, yeah, okay. I don't actually know why I have energy right now, because I swear, like, my day was, like, exhausting, and I'm just, like, dealing with 7th graders, and I'm like, no. Okay, the last thing, oh, and I actually talked about this, which is your deck may not be good right now. And that is, that to me was, like, so hard to, like, understand. That was, like, a super tough thing for me to be like, oh, yeah, my deck's not good in the meta right now. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But now I get it, and I was like, oh, that actually does make a lot of sense. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Yeah. Talk to you guys later. Bye.